Blame him.
Hello, welcome. Today is Thursday, September 26th. We're back to back weeks. Going to do NFL predictions for you. We already got the game started. We'll talk about that in a moment. But first, let me introduce my co host, Don Mac. We call him. What's going on, Mac?
What's up, guys? Doing great over here. Great day. Got some football on in the background, so we'll get later to that pick. We all went on record and made our picks, so we couldn't cheat. But excited to get into it.
Yeah, we never done it with stream with a game on, so this is actually kind of fun, especially because all three of us see what's going on. It was your birthday week. Happy birthday! So thanks for being
Hey,
here
thank
for that.
you.
And
Yep.
speaking of birthdays, if you're here because you got the article on Turf Show Time, writer Danny Stone, it's also his birthday this week too. So go back, comment happy birthday. What's going on, Danny Stone?
Hey, thanks for having me, Sammy B. And yes, that is Mac and I's birthday week. Very fun, very funny. Happy birthday. And as you said, happy to talk a little Rams turf show times, but always good to kind of do a quick intro and catch up with the boys. This is going to be fun, especially
Yeah.
with a game going on right now.
So we're gonna talk week four. Usually we don't recap what we did last week. Sometimes we do. We all finish the same at 7-9, so not really a good week. Hopefully we do
Mhm.
better this week. I didn't trust my gut, but yeah, we'll jump right in with the Rams. The Rams are going to Chicago. This is Matthew Stafford's first time playing in Chicago as a member of the Rams. But Dan, being a writer for the Rams, I'll let you start this one. What are you feeling for this game?
I'm watching the game. It looks like Devin Singletary was wounded, who I started in fantasy. But
Oh
anyways,
boy.
that's not why we're here. You know what? I actually just wrote my predictions article. I'm probably going to try to link this video at the bottom of it after we get it posted. I'm actually going to. I'll cut to the chase. I am going to pick the Rams to win. I think it's. I'm not very confident in the pick, and so far I've been wrong with every pick that I've done live. But I will say in my preseason predictions, I did have the Rams beating the Niners in week 3. But for my article last week and on our video, I did pick the 49ers given the Rams injuries. But I haven't been right in this article, correct in this article once. But I'm going to pick the Rams to win. I think the Bears have a really good defense, which could give LA problems. But if the Rams can get a lead and Caleb Williams, I think, is going to be fine, but that offense hasn't looked great yet. And I think Jared Verse and Braden Fisk, this might be the weakest offensive line they play so far, but we will see. But that's my take. I'm going to pick the Rams. I know I can be wrong, but I'm going with it.
Yeah, I'll go next since I know we're Rams fans. So I want to hear Mac's prediction last because he's had probably a different view. I preseason predicted the Bears to win this game, but now that we're here, I'm kind of feeling the Rams. I'm picking the Rams as well. Surprisingly, this is the first time I think the defense is going to be the difference because the Colts going to last week was the worst rush defense, and the leading rusher for the Bears only had 30 yards. So if they can't run the Colts, I'm not sure what they're going to do against the Rams. I think the Rams are going to force the rookie into some errors. I just feel good about the Rams. You know, Sean McVay showed he can overcome injuries. So I knew we'd agree on a lot of picks. We agree a lot as Rams fans. So Mac, who are you taking here? Chicago or the Rams?
Yeah, and I'm gonna make you guys happy. I'm going Rams too. I think the Rams showed a lot, last week, especially Stafford. And
Mm-hmm.
I had a feeling going in, like if it's close at the end, Stafford, he's always gonna have a chance. And it doesn't matter who's throwing to. I know big injuries, they're out. They're still gonna miss him this week, but I think, like you guys were saying, I think Caleb, he's gonna be good. They just haven't put it together enough to show that they can beat the Rams. But yeah, I'm taking the Rams, and I think they'll pull away. I think they'll win big this week against the Bears.
I would say you were definitely higher on the Rams than Sammy B and I were last week. Like you really actually were giving them, I think, more of a chance than we were. So credit to you on that. And
Yeah,
I mean, we all are picking the Rams. I will reiterate, I think if the Bears can get a lead, that defense can tee off on Matthew Stafford because it's not. I don't know that the Rams' offensive line is sublime by any stretch, but gosh, it's hard not to pick the Rams after what they showed
Yeah.
last week. So
And
yeah,
that's what it is, because the Bears are favored by 3. And it's like, man, it's my team, but I'm trying to be realistic. And I mean, Brock Purdy, so we don't go back too much to prior games, he played really great. So I think it was more of McVay overcoming injuries and the
yeah,
whole thing. So,
and in that game especially, I mean the 49ers defense is healthy, right? And
mhm.
so Stafford goes in and does that against a healthy-ish 49ers defense. So that's saying a lot. I know Bears have a good defense too. So
what
I think it'd be surprisingly a good game though.
what worries me is every week Week 1 it was Jamison Williams. Week 2 it's Marvin Harrison Jr. Week 3 it's Juwan Jennings. Every week a receiver has like gone off against the Rams. So I am worried about either DJ Moore. I mean, all three of them, Rome Odunze or Keenan Allen, who I've seen not in person or anything, but when they played the Chargers a few years ago, Keenan Allen crushed them. It was terrible. The year after their Super Bowl win when they had the losing record. But I could talk about this game all night, but thank you guys for letting us kind of start with it, and hopefully some of our readers check it out, and they're welcome to stick around as we talk about the other games too. So
yeah, before we kick it to the next game, I want to highlight what you said, Danny Stone, about the receivers. That's exactly why I picked the Bears in preseason. Was I said because of the receivers, the 3 they got. So that was the reason I said it then. But after, like you said perfectly, after seeing last week, how can you go against them? But I think there's a lot of stats against teams that beat the Niners or even play the Niners the week after are pretty bad. It's like a hangover because the Niners are just such a tough team. Yeah.
Where are you out? Yeah.
I mean, that could be too. And but hopefully, if you're a Rams fan, they win and get to the bye week. But you're right. Ugh.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, we're on the Rams, and we'll hop over to the matchup. So we got Thursday night. It's already going on right now. We got the Dallas at the Giants. I'll start with this one. I was taking Dallas to win this one. Since the start of last season, when the Cowboys hold the other team to 22 points or less, or 12-0. I know it already started, but I had a prediction that the Giants would score less than 20 points. That's why I thought that defense the Dallas is going to be the main difference. Dax looked pretty good in prime time. If you see the numbers, I think Danny Dimes hasn't won on a game off, not on a Sunday. And then, Jerry Jones, he's paying all his players. He's got a pretty big log book, so he's got to keep checking that to see who to pay next. But yeah, taking the Dallas there. Danny Stone, I said I got Dallas. I know we text each other, so you also took Dallas. Any feedback on why you're taking Dallas?
Yeah, I was laughing about a play call. Nothing at all had to do with what you said. I picked Dallas too, and I know we've got 7 minutes left in the first half. I took Dallas. I just, and I want the Giants to win. I started Devin Singletary in a fantasy league just because I thought he had a safe floor, and I like upsets, so I'm rooting for the Giants as I'm watching it on my phone, but Dallas does look like a better team, and I think those stats on Danny Dimes I just can't – I hate to say I can't trust him, but I think he's a quality backup in the NFL. If it's my team, I don't want him as a starter, and it's just hard to pick the Giants, I think, with him at quarterback, and maybe that's really rude, but that's kind of where I'm at with it, so I picked Dallas as well. But, Dawn? Mac?
Yeah, so earlier we were texting back and forth like you were saying. You guys know I went early with the Cowboys right away, and I sat there and thought about it, and I think, like you guys were saying about the Giants just wanting them to win, so I think I just got myself thinking, primetime, NFC East, Danny Dimes, and I do think they're finding something more, with Daniel Jones finding neighbors more recently and realizing how good he is. I think he's targeting like 15 times, it seems like, in this game. And he's getting yards, and they're driving the ball. So I think it'll be closer than maybe we anticipated a week or two ago. Looking forward to this matchup, but I did switch the Giants. I'm still going for them. They just got a first down, so they're still driving it.
That was a sick play.
Yeah, so I'm pulling for them. I think they will. And just think about it: if the Giants win, how crushed would the Cowboys nation be? I mean,
100%.
1-3, and the only people that don't dislike the Cowboys are Cowboys fans. So, so I think a lot of people are rooting for the Giants tonight, but we'll see.
It just seems like every year is their year, and it hasn't been a long time, and I think everybody's just a little tired of it. I don't know. We'll see, though. I mean, I like CeeDee Lamb. I like Dak Prescott. But, I'll root for the Giants. But at the end of the day, it's that stat that you had about Daniel Jones just, like, not winning in primetime games is ridiculous.
Not in primetime, just not much Sundays. So Thursdays, Saturdays. Like, if it's not a Sunday, he doesn't win. Yeah,
that's crazy.
And when you talk about Malik Neighbors, I saw a stat that he was the third most targeted rookie through 3 games. Puka was number 1. I forgot who number 2 was. But
he looks special.
I mean, I didn't think it was a crazy pick because prime time or can be close, usually low scoring, which keeps it close, and it's a division game, so
Thursday games are
don't worry
weird.
about that. We might have lost
Cool.
Mac. Still there?
I'm here. Can we get him back?
Did you lose your camera, Mac? While we're getting him back, I'm taking a look at the score. So they're driving now.
Yeah.
14. And
Yeah,
I drafted Rico Dowdle. I thought he would actually be starting at some point for the Cowboys. Looks like he's been the leading rusher today.
Okay. Well,
I started
Singletary
him
might
too.
start to get going. This is fun to do a game live while we're doing the predictions. I will admit it's a little distracting, so I can probably do a better job as I say that live on air, but it's a lot of fun. It's just different.
I mean, I got the TV on, but it's not the
Welcome
game,
back, Mac.
so it's probably the noise you
Yeah,
hear.
thank you. Sorry about that.
You're good.
Okay. That's why we're checking out. You see the Giants are driving, so it's still a one possession game. Granted, it's still early, so like I said, I do like that take. And we're gonna kick over to the next game. We got New Orleans going to Atlanta. I'll let Danny Stone start this one because I kind of changed my mind. I didn't know who I wanted, so I found an
This
interesting
one's a
stat.
tough one.
Yeah, no, you know what? Thank you for allowing me to take this one. I think I'm actually gonna. Man, this is a tough one. I think I'm gonna pick the Saints. I'll be candid. As a Rams fan, I like Raheem Morris. I'm rooting for the Falcons. I thought he was great with the Rams, so I'm rooting for the Falcons. But I don't know. I just worry that team is going to underperform. And the Saints, I know they got kind of stonewalled last week by the Eagles, but I think the Saints are going to be better than I thought they were going into the season. So I'm going to pick the Saints here. But this is a toss-up game for me. So my analysis is I could go either way.
Yeah, I'll go next. I was kind of thinking Atlanta at first. I'm like, don't want to trust New Orleans after they had a hot two starts and let down game 3. Historically, Derek Carr is not good on the road. Goes back to his days in Vegas Raiders. But what surprised me is Kirk Cousins is actually one of the worst quarterbacks statistically in domes. Since 2020, out of 87 quarterbacks that qualify, he's dead last against the spread. And I'm like, what? How why did Atlanta overlook that? So I'm like, I kind of wonder if Atlanta is going to be worse just because that it's weird. Trends are weird. So I'm taking New Orleans just because of that stat. Like I said, both quarterbacks
Sure.
aren't that good right now. Carr on the road, but yeah, give me New Orleans. Who are you thinking, Mac?
This one's a tough one. Like Danny Stone was saying, I really think it's a toss-up. Also, the Falcons have been playing like good teams tough. They gave the Chiefs some fits, right?
Mm-hmm.
They beat the Eagles, right? The Saints, who are they? Right? The first 2 games, you're like, are they the best team in the NFC? And then last week they, scored 12, I think, against the Eagles. So this one's a tough one too. I don't know why I'm just focused on Cousins so much though in this game. Like I think he's at home, like you said about the dome. That's interesting. I didn't know that, but
yeah,
I'm leaning towards the Falcons, so I'm gonna pick the Falcons. I think that the Saints will probably get back to what they showed in week 1 and 2. And it'll be a good, fun back and forth. But I'm gonna go Falcons in a really close game.
Oh, cool! I like it. I hope you're right.
Yeah, I think Atlanta's favored by 1.5. So when it's like 1.5, it's like really, it honestly could go either way. But, a lot of division matchups like this next one. We got the undefeated Vikings going to Green Bay, who I don't know if Jordan Love is back. There's talks he might be back. So Danny Stone, I'll let you start again since you like starting. Who you got in this game?
I will say I'd like to see Kyle Pitts take off. Anyways. I'm gonna actually take the Packers. Again, I like Minnesota. I like what Sam Darnold's doing. I'm a big Kevin O'Connell fan and believer. I just think that Matt LaFleur is a really heck of a coach, and what Malik Willis has been doing is pretty impressive. And if the Vikings can get after him, maybe he gets exposed. But I mean, he's 2-0 as the starter, which I don't think people would have said that a couple weeks ago that he would have been 2-0. And so a lot of credit to him, a lot of credit to the Packers. And I think I'm going to go with Green Bay in this game. But if the Vikings win this game, I mean, barring injuries that derail them, if they win this game and start out 4-0, you got to think it's real at that point.
Yeah.
Anyways, but Packers.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that. Like, oh, the 3-0 is it real? Because look at the other teams. Pittsburgh, Seattle, who we still got to talk
Mhm.
about. So that's a good point. Like after 4 games, if going into the season, like the Chiefs, you kind of expect them to win. So it's a good point. But I actually saw the Vikings are underdogs, and when a team in the last decade is 3-0 and underdogs, they're 2-9 the next game. So it seems to be like it's the make or break. So I'm taking Green Bay in this game.
Okay. Yeah.
What about you, Mac? Who you taking this one?
I want to lean Green Bay too. I think division matchup super interesting at this point in the season, right? It's you maybe going in and thinking the Packers would be in the driver's seat at 3-0, and the Vikings. I wouldn't even thought them to have a winning record at this point right now.
Me.
They look legit though. I mean,
Mhm.
they've had all 3 games have been looking great. Darnold looks good. But I'm leaning Packers. It's at home. Willis, whether he starts or Love, I think I'm going to take him regardless, whoever they start, because Willis, if you guys noticed it in his first game, they limited his throws. It seemed like he didn't throw it a lot, but I was watching a little bit of his last game. He was airing it out. He was
Mhm.
throwing it, and he's throwing some accurate deep balls too. So um, I think I like the Packers here. It'll be fun to see the Packers um, win too, to kind of even their records and keep that division race close early on in the season. So
Sure.
yeah, give me the Packers. It's gonna be a good game. One of the ones I'll probably watch.
And I thought maybe I'm wrong. I thought coming out of college, Malik, I thought had like high hopes. I think it was Liberty he went to. So like Sam
Mm-hmm.
Darnold, is on his fourth team, and he is looking resurged. So I wonder if under a good quarterback or a good coach, I should say, if Malik's looking better than he did in Tennessee. So.
Right.
And sometimes it takes time,
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
Yeah, they'll definitely shake up, the wild card race if Minnesota wins, because Green Bay, once Love comes back, I can see them winning some games, going on a run. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely
I think
huge
they're
match.
one of the stronger teams in the NFC, and I'm surprised. To Mac's point, I didn't think I thought the Vikings would be 1-2 at this point. If you were to ask me a few weeks ago, and again, I really
Mm-hmm.
like Kevin O'Connell. I just didn't think they had a full roster, but it looks like with Brian Flores calling that defense, they look like they have
Mm-hmm.
a full roster. So I don't know.
All right, so we'll go to the next game. We got a nice little indoor game. Pittsburgh going to Indianapolis. I don't know why. I'm kind of excited for this matchup.
Yeah.
But Mike Tomlin, similar to like Bill Belichick, seems to own rookies. I know he's no longer a rookie, Richardson, but you kind of could call him one since he's only played 5 games, or I think 6 games kind of this year. So Mike
Mm-hmm.
Tomlin against rookies is 25-6. I think Richardson last week was a 10-20, and we all know Steelers defense is probably what's carrying that team right now. So I could see them forcing Richardson some turnovers, looking bad again. In this matchup alone, in the last 9 games, Steelers have gone 8-1. Primarily most of
Mm-hmm.
that was Big Ben. But if you go back last 26 matchups, the Steelers are 22-4, and that goes back with like Peyton Manning still and all that. So I just think Pittsburgh. I'm rolling with them. I think with Justin Fields, I think he just is a good game manager, doesn't turn the ball over, and might just keep running the ball, run the clock out. Might be low scoring, but I'm taking Pittsburgh because of their defense. What about you, Mac? Who you taking here?
Yeah, so earlier, just looking at these games, thinking about it, and I look at undefeated teams, which being surprised once again with Steelers being undefeated through 3. Um, you kind of, I kind of lean towards the Colts at first, and then just looking at it again, and that Steelers defense, and SamMeeBee, perfect point about the Steelers defense against Richardson, and they can get definitely. I mean, lesser defenses, he's throwing 50% completion rate. So imagine Watt coming off the edge in this
Mm-hmm.
game, right, and disrupting him and in the pocket. So I'm going Steelers too. I'm not a huge Justin Fields fan, so to me it's a little surprising that they are undefeated. But yeah, with a great defense and a game manager, like you said, you can win games. So I think they go to 4-0 here, but soon to crash down back to earth, I think.
Yeah, leading that division. It's interesting. So I like
It is, yeah.
Richardson. I want him to do good. I like him, but
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of definitely
Me
a slow
too.
start. So what about you, Dan? Who you taking here?
Yeah, I'm going to actually go with the Steelers. I think so. I think I'm agreeing with you guys. Everything that you've said, and I'm going to kind of piggyback off of the Rich Eisen show. I think it was Chris Brockman or one of them that kind of brought up the point. The Steelers defense might be the best unit in the NFL. Like take all the defenses, take all the offenses. They might be, and with TJ Watt and there's some other guys on there. Any given Sunday, and I like Anthony Richard as a talent, and that Jonathan Taylor's great, but that defense is ferocious. I got to take the Steelers.
Oh yeah,
And Justin Fields is doing enough.
Yeah, no, that's gonna be hard for Bears fans seeing Justin Fields undefeated. So, and all right, so we move on to the next game. We got this will be interesting because of the coaching situation. We got Denver Broncos going to play the New York Jets. This one, if you remember, I'll start this one. The Jets played last Thursday night, so they have extra rest. Rodgers in games with extra rest come off byes 3-0. I think Denver, even though they won last week, I think it's kind of a fluke. I mean, Jets, they've allowed the least amount of passing yards since the start of last season. And the Broncos have a carousel of quarterbacks average the 9th worst passing yards. So I think Jets defense finally step up. I'm taking the Jets here. What about you, Dan?
I love the Snoopy logo. I mean, I love all the logos, but Snoopy, I have a soft spot for that with the Ace outfit on.
I think you said last year, too.
I bet I did. I'm just a sucker for it. I love that. And it's funny for the Jets because, yeah, he flies like a biplane in Charlie Brown, but he's the Jet. I don't know. It's funny. I'm going to actually take the Jets as well. We'll see if the Broncos can kind of ride that hot win. I don't think anybody in the world picked the Broncos last week against the Buccaneers, and they won. So, again, just any given Sunday, obviously. But I'm going to pick the Jets. Aaron Rodgers looked really good against New England. And obviously, we don't know exactly what New England is as far as how good they are. But he looked healthy. He was running around, and he looked – I mean, say what you want about him. I think when he's healthy, he's a top quarterback, and I got to pick the Jets over the Broncos here.
Yeah,
the defense might be good too.
It's supposed to be. I saw some people complaining about Sauce Gardner's sleeves since he's wearing the old baggy sleeves.
Oh yeah,
Really?
I like him and Wilson. I think are wearing those. Yeah,
it slows him down.
Old school.
They just don't like the look of it. I like following some jersey accounts and talking jerseys.
That's
all right,
funny.
so both on the Jets. You agree with us, Mac, or who are you taking here?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Aaron Rodgers. He was slinging that ball and against the Patriots, like you are saying, that was a different Aaron Rodgers. That and it's funny in all three games. In the first game, didn't look quite right against the 49ers. Second game, he was warming up, and then the last game, he looked like old Aaron Rodgers,
yep.
right?
I agree.
Broncos. I think Bo Nix kind of proved a lot of people, including myself. I was kind of, ragging on him a little bit at his start, and I want him to do well, and I think he's going to. But this week, I don't know. I don't like the matchup. Jets have a great defense. It's at New York, right? So, I'm picking Jets on this one.
Yep.
Yeah, because last week Danny Stone said Bo picks, so I went up and picked the Tampa defense, and he convinced me.
That's what I heard somebody on YouTube call him. It's the guy that does That Good Sports, Brandon Perna, and he's a Broncos fan, but he was calling him Bo picks, which is funny. But he had a great game. Denver had a great game last week.
We're not fancy experts. We're not fancy experts.
Well,
we're just here to give out picks. So.
Yeah.
Whoever has the Giants kicker in fantasy is doing pretty well. They just kicked a third field goal. There's a flag. We'll see what the flag is about. But
I haven't seen it yet. My score. All right, the next game is actually another close one. I think it's a 1.5 point favorite. Let's see who's favorite. It is Eagles. So Eagles are going into Tampa as a favorite 1.5 point. Tom Brady is announcing this game, and all three games he's announced, the road team has won and the over has hit. I think both of those end, and I'm taking Tampa Bay. I think maybe it's my dislike, and I hope that's not too strong a word, of Nick Sirianni and his decision making. So, and we were talking earlier before we started, AJ Brown's still out. I don't know if Devontae Smith is out. He's on 2 of my fantasy teams, so I really need to know that soon. So I think the injuries are stacking up. I can't see Sirianni a coach that can get over injuries, so I'm taking Tampa. What about you, Mac? I'll let you go next.
Yeah, I want to take Tampa too. I want to say the same exact things about the Eagles and Sirianni. I don't know why. I just don't like. Maybe because when they beat the 49ers in the NFC Championship game, maybe I'm a little salty still about that. But and how they acted. But I'm taking the Bucks. I think the Bucks probably feeling a little upset about dropping one against the Broncos last week and want to get back. They're back home, and I think they take this one. It's gonna be. I think it's probably one of the best matchups of the weekend, though. So another game I think I'll turn on time to time.
Yeah, and before I kick over to Dan, I used it a few times last year. Haven't done this year as like a look ahead. Like sometimes a team might look ahead. I wonder if that's what happened in Tampa. They were like, "Oh, it's Denver," and they kind of started planning for Philly. I think it's too early in the season to do that, but that's something I can believe happening. So, all right,
I can see that too.
Dan, you agreeing with us? Are you going with Philly? What are you taking?
Yeah, you know what? I think I am going to agree with you, and I'll say it's a great point, SamMeeBee. These are real people, and I think they totally get caught sometimes looking ahead, and that's when a team can take your lunch money, which is exactly what happened with Denver and the Buccaneers last week. But I'm going to take the Bucks. Going into the season, I would have taken the Eagles, but with AJ Brown being hurt, and I think you're right. Devontae Smith's still hurt, and their defense has been getting beat up. That's what kind of shocks me. Like with the Saints, like I don't really know. Like I don't even know, to your guys' point about Nick Sirianni, like I think sometimes just seeing him get all like blowhardy on the sidelines,
right?
It's just like, come on, dude, like you're not even calling the plays. Like I understand being rah, but then it turns out like we read reports last year that his team like hated him and like they were talking about firing him. So like I think we're all just kind of like, who is this guy? The Super Bowl, not winning, but he got that help get them to the Super Bowl, or is he just kind of I don't know. It's interesting, but so I'm going to take the Buccaneers here, mostly because the Eagles are wounded. But I think you guys are bringing up fair questions about Nick Sirianni for sure. And also, it's funny that you mentioned the Tampa 2, Mac. I know you kind of said it unintentionally, but my buddy who's an Eagles fan tells me the Eagles are going to get killed this week, that he can't read a Tampa 2 defense. Jalen Hurts can't read the defense.
There we go.
AJ Brown and although again they won last week, so it's just so early in the season. It's just so strange.
Yeah, and I think AJ Brown might be he's questionable. I think game time decision, but either way, still probably banged up. So probably not the best version of himself, but that might change it a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, go from an exciting game to a battle of the cats. We got Cincinnati. The winless Cincinnati going to Carolina. Go ahead, I'll let you. Dan, if you want to start this one, who are you feeling here?
Those are cute. The bongo cat and the sleeping cat. This is great. The Andy Dalton revenge game. This is the game nobody knew that we needed. I mean, this really is. I'm actually excited for this one. I think there's a lot of other compelling games. Packers Vikings might be really, and I'm a Rams fan, but Packers Vikings might be really exciting. But we'll see. Anyways, I'm going to go with I guess the Bengals here. But Andy Dalton and the Panthers looked really good last week, beating the Raiders. But I think that's one. And I should have, because I even did that last year. Quarterback change or when a coach gets fired, I usually pick that team because it gets the people going.
Always does.
But I just couldn't see it. And but I'm going to go with the Bengals. Bengals are due for a win. Like they are what their record is, but it's kind of shocking they're 0-3.
Dang. What about you, Mac? Who are you taking here?
Yeah, I went with the Bengals too. I think the same thing. Danny Stone was just saying the fact that they're 0-3 kind of shocks me. In fact, I kind of forget that they're 0-3 at this point. You just assume that they're winning. They have a winning record, and they've competed every game. That game against the Chiefs was a heartbreaker, so they're losing those kinds of games. The Panthers, I picked them last week, and it is exactly to your point that Dalton's coming in fresh and just excited, and I didn't expect him to do that good as they did. He was throwing that everywhere. I put Thielen on my fantasy lineup because I was like, he's gonna get some. He got a good 13, 14 points, and then he got hurt, so he's out. But I'm going Bengals. That might be another thing. Thielen's not playing this game, and as clearly his top target in that game against the Raiders. So I'm taking Bengals. They finally get their first win against a beatable team, despite being on the road. I think they take it.
Red Rifle revenge game. I'm taking Carolina. I wish I had a soundboard. Get some gunshots going.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know if you saw. So this is Andy Dalton's 5th team. He plays all 4 of his former teams this year, starting with this week. I think next week's the Saints. And last week, I really wanted to take Carolina, just like Danny Stone said. We know historically replacing quarterbacks, coaches, they win. And I
Mhm.
should have taken them. I did say that Deontay Johnson and Thielen will have a better game, and they both scored a touchdown. So I was probably the one time I was right fantasy wise. But and then if you remember Danny Stone last year, I don't know if I'm just a hater because of the Super Bowl, but I just don't believe in the Bengals. Joe Burrow's
Mm-hmm.
got more nicknames and playoff wins. Like he's a good player, maybe, but I just don't believe in the
Yeah.
Bengals at all. And last year I took under wins. I was like under everything Bengals, and I don't know. Maybe I I don't think they're that good of a team. I said it last
Mhm.
year, and maybe this 0-3 start isn't supposed to be too big of a surprise. So I'm taking Carolina.
You have
Okay.
historically, we've been doing this 2 years, and you have been down on the Bengals. I'll vouch for that. I like the Bengals. They seem to start slow. I think Joe Burrow is a
Mm.
top quarterback. I don't, I can't explain it. Like Max said, they're losing close games, which is pretty tough after a while.
Yeah, it's a good point. They do seem to under Joe Burrow at least have started historically slowed in the beginning of the season and just turn it up. And I think good teams are fine doing that. Honestly, I don't think they're concerned they're 0-3. You know, I think they know they can win. So
I think they'll be around as long as he stays healthy. Come December, I think they'll be right in the thick of it. But we'll see. We'll see. If they lose tomorrow, wow.
yeah,
Sunday, yeah. And I didn't even
Sunday.
know.
Sorry, excuse me.
I didn't even know Thielen was hurt. But like I said, they have Deontay Johnson. I think he's pretty good receiver. So I think he'll
I'm starting him in
definitely
a
target.
league. Unless I change my mind, we'll see. We'll see.
Dang. And we'll keep the cat train on going.
We
We got
need that
Jack.
rookie Leggett to step up. Xavier
Oh, Leggett. I
Leggett.
just like the way he talks. He man got money at KFC. You know, my mother.
He's cool. He's cool, dude.
I think Bryce
they'll get
Youngster.
they'll get more they'll get more targets. I mean, Thielen being
Yeah,
out, so and Dalton. I mean, they're gonna let Dalton throw. So
he's a big boy.
someone's gotta
Let
someone's
Dalton
gotta
cook.
catch the
Let
ball.
Andy cook.
Yeah, there we go.
The red rifle become the red chef. And then, all right, we got another division game coming up here. We got the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are not looking good. I think they're winless going to Houston. Danny Stone, who are you taking in this matchup?
I'm gonna make this one interactive to our guests, listeners, and to Sammy B and Mac. Is Jacksonville the worst team in the league right now?
Last week, I did say how since December 1st, Trevor Lawrence hasn't won a game, so I think it's considered the worst. I think they're just everyone's on the hot seat. I can't take them in any game they're playing. I
Even
don't
the
know if they're the
Titans.
worst. I
Like
think
we'll talk about the Titans. Will Levis has made some mistakes, but take away his mistakes, and they're probably
I,
2-1. Jacksonville
Mm.
look
I
they
think
look really bad. I'm going to pick the Houston Texans, and maybe this is where they turn it around. And I hope they do. I don't want to see people get fired, but
the reason why I
like
don't
that
think
was like a high school game last week. They
Mhm.
got absolutely smoked by the Bills. It was literally like a quad A team taking on a double A team. All the starters were done after the first drive of halftime. Like it was insane to watch. It
Yeah, I
helped
think
me
it's
win the fantasy game.
34-3. I
Yeah,
turned it on. It's 34-3, and I was, I know the Bills are good, but that was pretty bad.
Allen was playing out of his mind, and I'll to your point, I'll give him their flowers, but
Mhm.
Jacksonville just looks so bad, and I'm sorry to say
Yeah.
that. I know it's disrespectful, so I got to take the Houston Texans here. We'll see.
Mhm.
yeah, I'm taking Houston as well, and I don't think they're the worst team. Probably because I think they have some decent players that's not winning. Kind of reminds me of the Lakers a few years ago, where they had all these stars who just can't win because Travis Etienne, pretty good running back. Christian
Mm-hmm.
Kirk,
Mhm.
he was good. Gabe Davis was good in Buffalo, so it's like I think they're good. I mean, like at Tennessee, I mean, they have the Hopkins, but he's past his prime, and they have two running backs, so it's almost like, well, who's your starter? So I think Jacksonville's got better lineup. So they're in the same division, so they'll play twice. So maybe we'll find out
Mm-hmm.
then when they
Good
play.
point.
But yeah, I'm definitely taking Houston as well on this one.
It was definitely Carolina, but after the Andy Dalton win, they went up in my book, and then I'm kind of
Mhm.
like, wow, which for this, and then that stat that you brought up, Sammy B, where like literally Trevor Lawrence hasn't won in like 8 or 9 games is crazy.
So do they switch to Mac Jones then?
I don't think so. I don't. Mac Jones has to go to San Francisco. They should have got him over Trey Lance. He needs the Kyle Shanahan offense. I kind of kid, but kind of not. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think. I think you got to keep rolling Trevor Lawrence. He just got paid too.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I don't know if I said it already, but it seems like every time a quarterback Oh, that was one of my notes. I just didn't read it. Is anytime a quarterback gets paid, they don't win. Like Daniel Jones was the last season got paid, didn't win. So like Dak, I think the reason why he's doing bad this year is he got paid. Every
The
time and you
comfort.
go back 2 years ago, I forgot who it was that got paid. But anytime a quarterback gets paid, they underperform. So
Hmm.
and then Jacksonville, they allow the third most passing yards. I think Stroud will have a good bounce back game. So we were both on Jacksonville. What about you, Mac? Who you taking here?
Yeah, I'm taking Texans easily in this one. I think, like you guys were saying, it's that get back game for the Texans. Had a real bad loss last week.
Mhm.
That didn't look like Texans at all. Um, so- and and Danny Stone, you said earlier, like to your point, like in the beginning, first 2 weeks of the season, there was a few teams, 3, 4 teams that were like clearly the bottom of the league teams, the Giants and the Raiders and the Broncos. But those teams have had some good wins recently, and the Jaguars haven't.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
um, so maybe this is that week that they show something, and Trevor Lawrence proves why he got paid or something. But I don't see it. I think the Texans and maybe some big changes coming the Jaguars' way because they're expected to be performing, and it might go to 0-4. So
Yeah, I think of all the teams, and it's crazy. Doug Peterson wins a Super Bowl not even 10 years ago. And of all the teams, I think he might be on like the hottest seat. Because even New York at least won a game. And Denver, they just got Sean Payton a year ago. They're going to give him some time. The Raiders are probably going to roll Antonio Pierce unless it really blows up. Like
Mm-hmm.
Jacksonville, it looks, even the Titans, that's a first year head coach for them. So it's rough out there. I mean, you hate to see it to some extent, but it's at the same time the drama and stuff is kind of for some of us why we part of the reason to watch the NFL, and it is a dumpster fire right now. But if they can win, they can turn everything around, riding into London whenever they go there.
That's what
yeah,
they're better. Yeah.
the London Jaguars, right?
Mm-hmm.
On to the Toy Story broadcast.
It's fun. It's fun stuff. Whatever, you know.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, move on. So we already did cover the Rams Bears. That's the next game. All three of us are on the Rams. We covered
I
that.
picked the Bears logo, but I'm picking the Rams for the win. But that's a cute little bear
Yeah, I
doing
love the
the
Rams.
power slide or whatever.
So after 9 games, Danny Stone and I, we agree on all but one game, the Battle of the Cats. So we'll see how the rest of these picks go. And then Mac, I think you only differed with me for the first two, taking the Giants and the Falcons. But now we go to Mac's team. We got
Shameless plug, SamMeeBee, and I'm
Yeah.
sorry because I do. We'll let Matt cover his team, but last year, if I remember correctly, when we both picked the same team, we usually did pretty well, like 66%, something like that, correct rate. So we'll see.
Yeah, maybe since we didn't start from the beginning of the season, I didn't do it. We said like a recap of how we did, and it was like Dan's picks, my picks, and then our same picks, and we definitely had a winning record. I think it was about 66, so 2/3, yeah.
Nice.
And then this one, this is actually the biggest spread of the week. I believe San Francisco was a 10-point favorite, hosting New England Patriots. Mac, since it's your team, what do you think? What are you feeling for this game?
Yeah, this might be just the homer in me, but I'm going Niners easily. I think they're probably a little pissed off about how last week ended.
Mhm.
That they had it right there, had some errors at the end of the game that one or two plays go their way, or they make plays. Maybe they're kicking the game-winning field goal. I'll digress on that, but I think this is
You're good.
that game. The Patriots don't look great. So if it's a better team than the Patriots, I might have, questioned it a little bit based on health and how they've been performing. But I think this is good timing to get a team like the Patriots to come in. You're at home. I think they're gonna light it up. Juwan Jennings looks great. Hopefully, IU cleans it up, and I think none of the other injuries I don't think are coming back this week. But they did fine against Rams, so I think they'll do fine against Patriots.
Yeah, I mean, you've probably seen the stats. If you haven't, the biggest underdog the first 3 weeks has won each game.
Oh,
Week 1 was New England, the biggest underdog going into Cincinnati. Last week, I think it was Washington was the biggest underdog. But yeah,
Wow.
all 3 weeks, the biggest underdog has won outright. And San Francisco without Debo since last season's 0-4. I'm going to go a little crazy. I'm gonna take New England. I'm gonna take New England this one.
Okay.
And you know what? Last year I took Pittsburgh to beat San Francisco, and I think San Francisco won by 23. So if they win by 40 this week, guess what? It's only one loss. You know,
There we go.
sue me.
Yeah.
So
Are
yeah,
you taking New England?
I'm taking New England because I said the
Wow.
biggest underdog has won outright, and it's just like I don't know. They're a surprise team, scrappy team, and I don't know if it's the injuries with San Francisco. Is Debo back? Is he still out? Right?
Yeah.
I think
He's out
so.
for another couple games, I think.
You
Well,
know,
I'll tell you what, if Ronnie Bell could catch, I don't think they'd miss him.
Oh
right?
my gosh! Don't remind me. Please don't remind me.
Sorry.
I know. I almost texted you. I'm like, does he play defense? Because he should.
That's what I had a friend say that too, I think.
Oh man,
Brutal.
dang.
Regardless, I mean, if somebody were to force me to put $100 down on a team, I would have to pick the 49ers. I got to pick the 49ers. Obviously, I want New England to win. I mean, good on you, SamMeeBee. I hope you're right, but I don't even know if I need to really beat this one any further. I got to take the 49ers over New England here, but go Pats, go Pats, go.
Like I said, it's just the underdogs. I don't know. This is the year, and I don't know. All right, and
It'd
then
be a huge upset.
it would be.
But
All
we've
right.
seen the Niners start slow before, and then they come around, which might be why earlier, Mac, you said it's okay for a good team can start slow, and I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, the Rams were 3-6 last year, and then win 7 out of 8 and make the playoffs. So, yeah, you can. People don't like to talk about it. Nobody likes losses, but you can take some L's. You just got to get better.
Yep.
It's like my fantasy teams. And in 3 leagues, I'm combined 1 and 8. But don't worry.
I hear it, dude. I'm
make the
0-3 in
playoffs.
the league. I hear it.
Oh, I'm 0-3.
It's hard. That's why I play in a bunch of leagues. Hopefully, Knockwood gives me some chances to do okay.
All right, then we'll go to another late game. We have Cleveland going to Vegas. Another close one, probably because both teams are bad. Vegas favored by 1.5. This one, I used some of my weird trends to pick the team. Since 2019, Cleveland is 0-7 in Pacific Zone games. So they're not good traveling out west. I'm taking Vegas here. What about you, Danny Stone?
That's almost like a baseball stat, but less
Yeah.
games. That's an obscure one. You know what? Max Crosby was a little banged up last week, and they end up taking the loss to Andy Dalton and the Panthers. I guess I'm gonna pick the Raiders here. I think Myles Garrett's banged up, and you know what? I'm gonna say it. I just can't. If they want to keep rolling Deshaun Watson out there, that's their business. I just don't think it looks right. I don't think that's a hot take. I think a lot of people agree. They were better with Joe Flacco last year. Like, we saw it. That's not even just like hyperbole. Like, they were literally a better team with Joe Flacco. Maybe, I mean, if Jameis Winston, he's the backup, maybe they should give him a run, but that's their business, and maybe Deshaun can figure it out. But I can't trust the Browns right now, and I'm going to take the Raiders, even though they just got embarrassed by Carolina.
What about you, Mac? How are you feeling for this one?
I want to take the Browns. Actually, I think they look terrible week 1, and I think slowly just Watson's still not looking terrific, but he's getting the ball to Cooper, which is good. I got Cooper on fantasy and finally getting some points with him.
Yeah.
But he's finding his guys more. Raiders just disappeared last weekend, and there's actually, I don't know if you guys saw, there's a lot of drama. Antonio Pierce, after the game, he referred to he saw players taking business decisions. And I saw some replays, and I saw some players right there for the tackle and kind of just like let up. And you gotta think that's bad for a locker room to see each other do that. So that's tough. And so he even said something about like we'll make it right if they want to make business decisions. So we will too, as a team.
Like
and I'm like, oh man, does that mean blowing that thing up? And so it's not going well with the Raiders, I think. So hopefully I can just picking the Browns, just pure drama in that locker room. I think with the Raiders, maybe it's a 1 week thing because they got blown out and so they're all sour about it. But it doesn't seem like the Browns and the Raiders kind of as franchises are very similar. Just the gritty, like dramatic kind of things always happening and not a lot of success lately. And so
they seem to not be able to get it right. And when I say that, like, I think they had Jack Del Rio. who takes him to the playoffs and then has a down year. They replace him with Gruden. Gruden ends up getting fired. They replace him with the name is before McDaniels, starts with a B, but his name escapes me. I think they get to the playoffs with him, and then they hire Josh McDaniels. It's a disaster. Now they're going with Antonio Pierce. They got rid of Derek Carr, who finally looked really good up until the Eagles game. I don't know. I just agree with you, Mac. I just think the Browns and Raiders have made some poor decisions the last decade, or maybe even longer than that, and it's just hard to overcome. You can have a poor decision here and there, but when they stack on each other, it's just really hard to overcome. And then you have what I call, I don't think it's just me, but a culture of losing. And you have players that they're down 21-0, and they're just like, well, there's no point in trying. Like if the Rams felt that way, they're not going to beat the Niners last week. Not to add salt to the wound, but that's just, I think, a good example of a better culture. But these things can change on a dime, on a week's notice. But all your points are valid, and if the Raiders don't respond the right way, I said the Jacksonville's got a lot of problems, but the Raiders, that's not good.
Yeah. Well, we go from a kind of boring game to I think a pretty exciting game. We got Washington Commanders going into Arizona. I'll actually be at this game, so I'm traveling to watch it.
That's cool.
I think both teams are electric right now, scoring a lot. I think it's the highest total. I don't know if it's the highest of the season. Right now it's around 50. I can see it being exciting. I'm taking Arizona. I think Kyler Murray being the vet, I think knows what he's doing. I'm trusting him. So I'm taking Arizona. Who are you taking here, Mac?
I'm gonna go with Commanders. Jaden Daniels is showing. I mean, in the last 2 weeks, he's been, especially this last Monday night game. I think I was wrong about him, because the first game I was like, oh man, he's gonna have a rough season. He doesn't look ready. But man, Monday he looked every bit of like Stroud was last year as a rookie. Right? He was confident. He was throwing downfield against a good team. Bengals would strike and then he would just strike back. And so it's like, I was like, man, okay, he's already there. And so he's got the team around it. And McLaurin, he's throwing to McLaurin downfield. So I think this would be high scoring, like you were saying. Maybe I'm just anti-Cardinals. I don't know. Like, I haven't picked the Cardinals once. I just don't. I think I believe in Jaden Daniels more than Kyler Murray as a quarterback. But it's going to be a fun one. I thought I'll turn this one on too, actually.
There's a lot of good ones.
It's a lot of fun matchups this week.
Offenses might be starting to heat up as we get further into the season. We'll see. But I'm going to
tiebreaker. Let's hear it.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Cardinals for what you said, SamMeeBee. I think so. I'm gonna break your way, I guess, as far as the tie goes. I think Kyler Murray, while he's healthy, just a bit more of a veteran presence. But I want the Commanders to win, obviously. So I hope they do win. That would be great. But I think I got to pick the Cardinals here for all the reasons that you said. I just think they're a little bit better team. But we will see. I like Dan Quinn. I know a lot of people rag on him, but I like him.
Are you sure you guys aren't Cardinals fans? I think.
Or James Conner.
Really funny. Yeah. So since you say that, I don't, and we'll get to Seattle when we get to Seattle. The Cardinals, I think, have shown before, and even I remember in college they had a season with Larry Fitzgerald where they started like 4-0, and then the rest of the season they won like one game. So like the Cardinals, I feel like are one of those teams where they start hot, and I'm willing to give them a win here. But come December, are they still going to be as good? I mean, I don't even know if Kyler Murray's still going to be running around the way that he is. He might be tired. He might be playing Call of Duty. Just
Call of Duty comes out.
Yeah, so I'll give him so I'll take the Cardinals here. But in a few weeks, my tune might change, or maybe we are just secret Cardinals fans.
I mean, you are.
I do like Marvin Harrison Jr.
I do too.
Yeah.
Definitely teams I dislike, and they're not one of them. And maybe it's Kurt Warner, former Ram, great, went to the Cardinals. Now James Conner, he's from our hometown, plays for them. I know he started with Pittsburgh, but I don't know. Maybe it's a team that I just knew like the Rams historically have always beaten. So it's like, I'm not scared of them. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just I don't dislike them. I'm neutral. I know with Seattle, I'm like, I don't like them. I like their uniforms. It's like
I don't dislike the Cardinals either. And like you said, Kurt Warner days, that was some fun Cardinals teams to watch.
They were.
But even now, I don't dislike them as much as Seahawks, like you said. But
And a family lives out there. Maybe it's they're kind of cheering for them. So
I mean, I know that they've beaten our teams and they stomped the Rams in week 2, but whether it's the 49ers or the Rams, like the last little bit, it's kind of in our division. And the Cardinals, maybe it would be a different tune if the Cardinals would have eliminated the Rams in the playoffs on their Super Bowl run, but they didn't. Kyler Murray got mauled and threw a pick 6, and we absolutely steamrolled them that year. So it just, I don't know. It's interesting how that stuff comes into play, whether it's subconscious or not.
It was like a 1-yard pick 6, wasn't it? Because he was in it
was
zone. Yeah, like
it
they
was
were
crazy. And you knew. I mean, you never know anything, but it was like the Rams are winning. Like Kyler Murray's gonna go play Call of Duty on the sidelines. Like, it's kind of rude. He smoked the Rams a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Maybe I like him. Maybe because he's I think first overall pick for. Wasn't he also picked for the Raider or Athletics? Like he was drafted high.
Baseball. He was drafted.
Athlete, he went with football because more money for him at quarterback, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sure he would tell you that it was his quote calling, but I think it was a financial decision as well. But
I think I've always just liked him. You know, it's kind of like I've always liked Baker. Like Baker in college, I wanted him to do good. Sure. I've always liked Baker where he goes. I think Kyler Murray is someone I've always liked. So
you got Kyler in fantasy too, so you've got reason.
I do.
Yeah, he's fun to watch too. So.
And we got
when he's on, he's special.
All right, we got one more late game. We'll go into the next one. We got the Kansas City Chiefs going to the Chargers. I'm not sure if Herbert's banged up and out because the spread moved from 4.5 to 7.5. You know, the Chiefs are obviously favored, but the Chiefs don't historically cover, so I'm not even touching the spread. But Mahomes against AFC West, he's 30-5, so he definitely dominates the division. I'm not even questioning it. I'm taking Kansas City to win this one. What about you, Danny Stone?
Yeah, I'm going to take Kansas City as well. The Harbaugh story is nice. Herbert does have a high ankle sprain, and I think he kind of slipped up in media stuff this week because he's like, I'm feeling a lot better than last week, but like it sounded like it wasn't, like it's still hurting, you know, so that might have been why it moved. I could be totally wrong here. But, I'm going to take the Chiefs. They're the best team in football. I'm going to keep picking them until they lose a game, and then I'll maybe reevaluate. But, yeah, that's my analysis. Hashtag, as Matthew Berry would say.
All right, Mac, you agreeing with us?
Chiefs next. No. Obviously the Chiefs though. Like you said, Herbert's banged up. He didn't look great last week. I picked the Chargers last week. I thought it was a home run pick, and they failed my pick. So I'm salty. I'm salty.
Yeah.
But, how do you pick against the Chiefs? I mean, it's funny because they've been off to a slow start as per the Chiefs, and they're 3-0. So, you know what happens when they actually heat up and Mahomes and Kelsey start connecting more, and Xavier Worthy starts running all over the place. So, I'm taking Chiefs.
Oh yeah. All right, then we'll go over to our Sunday night game because there's 2 Monday nights. So this one, like I said, I'll be traveling back from Arizona, so I don't know if I'll be able to catch hopefully the second half. I'm excited for this matchup. So this is the one I'm missing. Both teams really good. I know I did pick Lamar last week because his record against the NFC, I think it was 20-3. And then my friend who's a Baltimore fan corrected me. It's like 21-1 as a starter. So 2 of the losses, he wasn't even a starter. So he owns NFC teams. However, against Sean McDermott, the Bills coach, he's 1-2. I am believing in Josh Allen. You know, I like what he's doing. And maybe it's because I want them to win. And they are kind of like my adopted second team. So I'm taking the Bills in this game to win. I'll kick it over to you, Mac. Who are you feeling for this fun matchup?
Wow, this one was like the hardest one to pick. I mean, going in, they're both coming off wins. Although the Ravens were up really impressively against the Cowboys and kind of let them come back in that game. The Bills walked away with that win. This is so hard. I'm gonna lean the Bills just because how sharp they've been looking at all facets of the game. So and then I think Allen is probably playing, in my opinion, the best QB at the QB position right now.
Yeah, I don't think that's crazy to say.
Yeah, I think they take this one. Again, this is probably going to be the best game of the week.
Yeah, I don't like saying look ahead, but I see next week. I'm looking at the schedule because curious. I know bye week start next week, so next week Bills play Houston. So I know it's back-to-back tough games.
Jeez, another good one. Yeah.
And outside, what you said you taking the Bills in this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna. It's a close game. I think 27-24, something like that. Bills.
Okay. Yeah, all right, Danny Stone. Who are you taking?
Yeah, I'll say this in case I ever have family listen to this. I have family that are big Bills fans. I'm rooting for the Bills here, but I am going to take Lamar Jackson, the Ravens. It might be really silly. I think to your point, SamMeeBee, Sean McDermott, the Bills have just, and it's not just Josh Allen. They've looked like a good team, and they started out so shaky in week one. They were down like 17-3 against the Cardinals, and then since then, they've just been rolling. They come back to win that game, and obviously they're 3-0, and they look great. But despite all that, even though that's all pro Bill stuff, if Von Miller is on one and he's taking down Lamar Jackson, then I guess the Bills are going to win. But gosh, Lamar's so good, and the Ravens really, I think, want to get to 500. Not to say the Bills don't want to be 4-0, but either way, even if the Ravens lose, I still think they're around a few months from now. But I am going to take the Ravens here.
Nice. Like,
you guys might be right. I'm not thinking. You guys could be definitely right, and I might be regretting this.
Yes, I just hope I can catch some of the game. I just hope it's close. I don't want to hurry home and be like, oh, this team's up by 20.
Yeah.
So, all right, so we got 2 Monday night games. It's kind of surprising. We have multiple weeks of Monday night games. I don't know what the power rankings are, but I would probably pick, I think the Titans are the worst team. But we have the Titans going into Miami. I already kind of hinted at it. I think Miami, despite the quarterback play, has the weapons. I picked them last week. I mean, that was bad take, but can't always be right. I just think the weapons is the difference. I don't know. Will Levis is not looking good. Like I said earlier, when you talk about is Jacksonville the worst team, I said I like their roster better than Tennessee, so I think it's coming down to just coin toss. It's like when you look at your fantasy lineup and you're like, you're projected to have this better of a player, this better. So I think Miami checks more boxes. I don't even want to watch this game, but I'm taking Miami. What about you, Danny Stone?
Yeah, this is a tough one. I'm actually going to take the Titans here. If Snoop Huntley is the starter, which I think it's going to be Brent Hundley. Like, good for them. I don't. The reason I don't put the Dolphins in like the dumpster fire category with where like the Raiders and the and the Titans might be there too actually, and then Jacksonville, like the injury to Tua, terrible, awful. I think that can shake a team. And, Jalen Ramsey looks a little older, too, and they just extended him in the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
He certainly doesn't look like the Rams Jalen Ramsey, I would say. But all due respect, I'm sure he would slap me silly. I'm going to actually pick the Titans for this one. But this is like the battle of who makes the less amount of mistakes, I guess. Who doesn't lose this game? I don't think it's about who wins it. It's just like, well, they didn't lose it. Like,
usually every week there's a pick that makes you say wow, and you just made me say wow with that one. And I just went to NFL.com, went to power rankings, and they agree. 32 Titans, so they agree with me that the Titans are the worst team right now.
They might be.
I was kind of surprised. I thought even though Carolina won, I thought they would still be down there.
I know you can't do this, but take away those awful Will Levis turnovers, and like it is a different story. Like obviously that happened, you can't take it away, but like those picks are like. They're like the Jameis Winston 30 turnover season type stuff. Like it's just like, what are you doing?
Jacksonville's 30th.
I think Tennessee. I think when they played the Jets, I think it was just a 1-score game. I mean, still lost, all right, but I mean to keep it close with Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, I don't know. But I mean to jump ahead, I'm taking the Titans anyways.
Oh, okay, cool.
Just because the Dolphins, I picked them last week because I thought the same thing. You were just talking about, so many weapons. Anyone can just chuck the ball out there. Well, that didn't really happen, right? It's like Tyreek Hill is out there, Waddle's out there. They're all out there. And then Thompson can't get them the ball. So I think maybe Levis comes out and isn't like normal Will Levis and maybe throw some touchdowns or something, but again, one of the games I probably I'll have on in the background kind of game.
I mean, I'm glad there's two. And real quick, the Jacksonville's they're ranked 30th according to the power rankings, so you're pretty close. Let me in bad.
Who's 31?
Yeah, who's
Carolina.
wow.
They
Even with
don't believe in the
Raiders.
red rifle. They're about to jump up from 31 to 16. No, I was kidding.
I would put the Panthers ahead of the Raiders in terms of I believe in them more right now, honestly, which is probably
Yeah.
crazy.
All right. Well, at least the next game is pretty cool. I think it'll be a good matchup. So I'm happy I'll be home for this one. Seattle going into Detroit, who is, if I'm not mistaken, unveiling a new uniform. I think they're wearing all black with
Yep.
blue helmet.
Oh.
So Danny Stone, you know about this one, so I'll let you start with who are you feeling for this one?
You know what? I'm torn. I will say, and I might be eating my words, and I do have Seattle beating the Rams in their first matchup, which we'll get there when we get there. But in my preseason predictions, I had that. So I don't want to totally just talk down on Seattle. But I think of all the 3-0 teams, I don't really buy it. Strength of schedule, sure. But Geno Smith is what he is, and he's a lot better than he was. But I can't see this team winning more than 9 games. And I could be definitely wrong. Mike McDonald, I like the defense. I actually think they're going to give Goff fits. But at the end of the day, I think Aiden Hutchinson, if he's playing, which as far as I know, he's still healthy. I'm going to go with the Lions here. I'm rooting for the Lions, so maybe my bias is getting in the way. And if the Seattle's 4-0, then maybe I should recalibrate, reevaluate. But I don't know, man. Guys, I might be eating my words. I don't take them that serious. I'm picking the Lions.
Well, I'll go with my take because I think it's exciting. I'm actually taking Seattle.
Yeah.
Last year I was big on them, and I don't want to say it was early because I keep saying that. Like last year I picked the Saints, and it's kind of fun. Just looking it up, the last 3 times that Goff has played Seattle, he's lost.
Yep.
However, in this matchup, Seattle-Detroit, they played last 3 seasons with a total of 68, 93, and 80. So I'm wondering if this is going to be fireworks. I'll probably take the over in this one. Another thing, too, I know it was in Baltimore last year, but the Seattle coach, Mike McDonald, was the defensive coordinator, I believe, for Baltimore.
Yep.
And he held Goff in check to only 5.4 yards per attempt. I kind of see him maybe kind of holding them down again. This
You're
season,
right.
Seattle has ranked first in coverage according to Pro Football Focus, and they're top 10 in early down success rate. So I think the defense will step up. But then I don't know because it's going to be high scoring. I don't know. Maybe it's my bias. I mean, I like Jared Goff, but I kind of like Seattle. I'm taking Seattle. So I want to go second. That way, Don, you can be the tiebreaker. Who are you taking here?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Lions in this one. I agree with Danny Stone that the Seahawks. I know they're 3-0. I like your take about their final record, and I tend to agree. I don't think they're as good as their 3-0 record. They've won and they won big, but I don't buy it. I think they're gonna fizzle out a little bit. I think the Rams are gonna get healthy, the 49ers are gonna get healthy in those division games, and the Cardinals are gonna give them fits when they're playing each other in those division games. So, and it starts here. I think the Lions. I think they're a little hungry. They're at home. That stadium's gonna get loud. I like you said, Aiden Hutchinson probably have multi-sack game. But yeah, I'm going Lions, and I'm hoping Lions too. So
yeah. For sure.
Yeah, because this, like I said, goes back to the Vikings. Like I said earlier, if Vikings win, Packers are gonna get Jordan Love. They'll go on a streak. So this is another game where I think has good playoff impact. Because the wild card.
Totally.
I do believe in San Francisco. I think I picked them to win the division, and I didn't see Seattle being 3-0. So I'm like they're gonna be pushing for the wild card. So.
To backtrack, Sammy B, I think you make a great point because I forgot about that. I knew he was with the Ravens, but they played Detroit last year, and everybody was like, and it wasn't a game. And Detroit was awesome. Like it was one of their first or second losses. They were awesome all year, but the Ravens absolutely stomped them, if memory serves. So if that's what it's going to be, and then I can totally see Seattle winning, and maybe I should go your way, but I'm still going to stick with the Lions. I think they squeak it out. We'll see.
I mean, don't fix.
I think playing at home is big for the Lions in that game. I think.
Good point.
Seattle going all the way out east, and Seattle loves playing in Seattle. I think playing in that loud Lions dome is going to give them a little taste of their own medicine, maybe.
Different game, but just to your point about how much that can have an impact. If the Rams, which they're going to Chicago, but if they were going to Chicago in like November, December, I mean, I don't know anything, but I probably think I'm taking the Bears. So I'm glad they're going where it's fall, not winter. I think that'll be good for LA, but we'll see. And absolutely, maybe if Lions were going to Seattle, it's a different story for me. That's a good point too. But we'll see.
See, I don't want to bring that up about the Rams in the winter because they have Matthew Stafford, who played in Chicago and in Green Bay.
He's tough.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of stats on Jared Goff, like in a dome versus not in a dome. So that's the thing too. And I don't know the Seattle 12, the fans. Like, I don't know if there's really a home field advantage like it used to be with the Legion of Boom. Like I hated when the Rams played in Seattle.
Yeah.
I'm not even turn this game on. It was brutal.
Funnily enough, Jeff Fisher was
loud.
terrible with the Rams, but Jeff Fisher would find a way to beat Seattle. But I just want to throw that out there. But I'm sorry, Mac. Please go ahead.
No, it's just like SamMeeBee was saying, it's so loud. It's almost like unfair. Like I hate to be that guy. Like, oh, you guys are too loud.
Yeah.
But it's like, come on, it's not even the quarterbacks came in. I'm remembering back to the days.
I mean, they call it the 12th man. I mean, they literally call it the 12th man. So it's like a whole persona for the fans, and they're out there and they're yelling and cheering. But I think that Detroit has the record in last year's playoff game for loudest decibel against the Rams. I think that's the record for loudest decibel. I think not counting those Falcons years where they were pumping in crowd noise and got in a little trouble for that, which that's so funny. But I digress. No, you guys are bringing up some really good points, and you're almost swaying me to pick Seattle. But I'm gonna stick with the Lions.
Yeah, I'm sticking Lions.
I think Detroit's pumping in sound there. Is what it was.
It might,
I was about to say that until you brought up Atlanta. So it was interesting. I talked about the total, how it sailed over the last 3 years. It opened at 49.5, down to 46.5. So I don't know if sharps are on the under, but I don't know. I'm excited for this one. So, all right. Well, that covers all of it. Hopefully, we have a better record. I think we disagree on a handful. So, one of us has to have a better record than last week. And probably interesting to see on the ones we all agree on. Maybe I'll do that, do a little map of all that. So, all right. I have nothing else. Like I said, going back to the beginning of this episode, it's both your guys' birthday week. So, if you're here from the Turf Show Time article, please go back and comment happy birthday and also comment on the article. And thanks for watching. Before I sign off, Mac, you have anything you want to say?
No, just thanks again for having me. It's fun. Although my picks, I went below 500. Hopefully, and just to add, my 9-year-old son, he was above 500. He made better picks than me this past week. So just throwing that out there. He started making picks this week, so I'll be sure to send that to you guys. So
yeah, that was cute. He might have, and if I'm wrong, I apologize. He actually might have picked the Broncos last week.
He did pick the Broncos.
Yeah. So he was the only kid in the world.
I think
my picks weren't that good last week.
25-24 Broncos, I think is what he picked.
I remember the one I remember specifically was he had the Vikings by 2 touchdowns. So
Oh yeah, he did have the Vikings big.
Well, your kid might have a future in this more so than we do.
Give him a channel.
I guess I'll just throw out there, Mac, you had mentioned that Dallas kicker Brandon Aubrey's having a good fantasy day. That still looks to be true. He might be the best kicker in the NFL. He just nailed a 60-yarder. Justin Tucker might no longer have that mantle. And this is so fun. Thank you guys for doing it. Thanks for starting with the Rams, and I'll try to put it in the article. And this is a lot of fun. This is really fun. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming, guys, and we'll see you next week. Have a good one.
One love.